pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Wolfgang.
Here.
Fitzpatrick.
Here.
House. Campbell.
Oh,
Here.
I'm sorry,
House is
House is
excused.
excused.
Campbell.
Here.
Kuchera.
Here.
Bonstein. Here. Dyke.
Here.
Brief public input. Anybody from the public who wishes to approach the board and speak on anything? Seeing none, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion, wait. I would like to add something to the agenda. It has to do, we have pavilion rentals on here, and it has to do with that, but it's not authority to grant refunds. So I will say, let's add, cash refund of pavilion rental as item M.
Any other changes? Or a motion?
I'm sorry, that should be pavilion rental deposit, sorry.
So item N, cash refund of pavilion rental deposits.
And I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with change.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda with the addition of item M. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declaration of conflict of interest. Is there any board member that has a conflict with anything that's on the agenda tonight? Presentation and special reports. Grand Traverse County Commissioner report.
Good evening. Cheryl Barfolet, one of your two county commissioners. Nice to see you all. First of all, I want to apologize for not making your party. I really wanted to come. It was so hot that night, and I'm a true northern girl. I absolutely melt in the heat, so I couldn't come because it was
Could
too
have
hot.
melted with me.
I'm not kidding. Every time I go to a beach bums game, it's like 85 degrees. It's yeah. So anyway, I hope you had a good time. It looked like you did. So congratulations on your accomplishment. Okay, I guess the biggest thing to report is that we have found a new county administrator, and she will begin September 5th. So that's happening very quickly. Our current administrator will be retiring September 4th. So we're not going to have two county administrators at the same time. Mr. Menzel is gonna continue doing some kind of sort of like special projects because we're paying him through the end of the year, so rather than, just collecting his pay, he's gonna be working on a few things, kind of as a contractor, but nothing that wouldn't have to be approved by the board, so that's a pretty big move. I'm feeling, pleased with the process. I think the process worked. It was, not without its bumps in the road, but those processes usually do have a few bumps. So I think it's going to be an interesting new day for Grand Traverse County. I think it may be the first woman administrator that the county's ever had, so we'll see how that works out. Besides that, it wasn't mentioned in the paper, but at our last meeting we did talk about the pension and pension debt. And I thought it was rather noteworthy that we did reach consensus as a board that we were not going to pursue either a millage or bonding at this time. That was a pretty significant change in position for several of us, and despite what the record eagle says, I do think that our board works together well. I don't think the board has to vote 7-0 all the time. As a matter of fact, I think if you did, you'd be called a rubber stamp board. So I think you just have to expect that you're not always going to agree on everything, and you can disagree without being disagreeable, and I think for the most part, we accomplished that. sometimes passions run high, but at the end of the day, we all respect each other, and, we're trying to get the work done. So, the other things that, are moving forward at a pretty good clip, we're working on the animal control thing, and, Roger gave me a couple of ideas about, animal control and why are we not, licensing cats. So I guess I would look to any of you who have a cat and would ask if you have, any input into that, because what the heck? I honestly see a lot more cats wandering around my neighborhood, than I do dogs. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to, accomplish with animal control, and I'm chair of the ad hoc committee on that, animal control is not a mandated service, okay? It is not required. However, I think if you ask most people, they would say they want animals to be protected, and they want animals to be, we don't wanna see animals being abused, we don't wanna see abandoned animals, etc. So we need to figure out a way to provide that service, and with almost 100,000 people in Grand Traverse County, and heaven only knows how many dogs and cats, they're saying 20,000 dogs. I think that's way low. I think that's way low. I think I know 20,000 just myself. I think it's more like 40,000. And then don't even get me going on cats. But the goal is to have the licensing fee paid. Now, if everybody who had a pet paid their annual license fee, it would pay for animal control. And I have to admit, I didn't license my dog, and I admitted that at a meeting. And I admitted I didn't do it because, number one, I never thought of it. I mean, I'm in Blair Township, which is a leash law county, which means you always have to have your pet on a leash. I mean, I get the shots and everything, but why would I license it, you know? It's never gonna get lost. Well, then I found out that the license fee goes for animal control. So I think we're gonna try and come up with public service announcements and some other kinds of informational campaigns to let people know, pay your $15 a year and help support animal control. I mean, do you think most people would willingly pay $15 if they knew it was gonna, go to animal control? Hopefully.
I would.
Right, right. And if you get a 3-year license, it's $30. So you actually save if you license for 3 years, So anyway, animal control is out there. We're still having some, challenges with Commission on Aging. We still haven't replaced the director who left. I don't know why. I asked at the last meeting. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I won't laugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's okay, keep going.
Yeah, well, at the last meeting, a week ago, I asked for an update, and I was told that they had 3 candidates that they were gonna interview this week. Why does it take 3 months to find 3 candidates to interview for, I'm just befuddled. But anyway, we're not letting up on that issue, so hopefully we'll get Commission on Aging squared away. We don't know exactly what's going on with veterans, and you've probably read about that, so there's some things to untangle with that. We're still trying to decide about whether there are any property that we want to sell, and at this point I would tell you, probably the only property we're seriously looking at is the governmental center. So no parks, yay Andy, no parks, nothing of that nature, but the governmental center itself and the parking lot adjacent to it are a couple of prime pieces of real estate located right on the river. We hold a big chunk of property out on Lafreniere Road, which a number of years ago when that was purchased, the plan was to move governmental services out to Lafreniere. That and trying to revitalize the plan from 5 years ago to get a new jail and a new sheriff's department, which would also be out in that vicinity. So those are kind of what's on the burner now that we have some of our other major issues taken care of. So never a dull moment, lots to do. Questions?
Yeah, there was an article in the paper, I think it was prior to our last meeting, about TCAPs and some property and having trails go through Blair Township and all this, and do you know what I'm talking about?
The Olson, do you know what foundation?
I read the article, but it was TCAPS, and it was part of the,
Part of the old Lockman Center.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Lockman, the Alan Lockman outdoor thing. Yeah, that's TCAPS, that's not the county. So, yeah, I do remember reading about that, and I was curious of how you felt about that.
Well,
'Cause
it
it
would have
was
been
like
nice somebody had talked to one of the board members about it before the article came out.
What a concept, huh?
Yeah.
It was who again? Oh, yeah.
Okay, any other, Carl, you got questions, comments?
No,
No, okay,
I'm okay now.
all right, good,
I do.
yeah,
I remember a few months ago when you were speaking about all of the storage rooms in the county building with stuff. Like having, that was your word, stuff, lots of stuff. And having a sale. Has there been any more movement forward with that, or have you found out what kind of stuff is stored?
the short answer would be no. That is under the purview of the facilities, director, and, which is Marty Dunham. He's a Menzel hire, Tom Menzel hire, and, no.
Okay.
Short answer is no. As far as I know, the building is still full of stuff. Now, I also had another wonderful suggestion from Mr. Zeitz that we need to have a daycare facility at the governmental center, which brings to mind that beautiful room in the governmental center that it used to be the cafeteria. Boy, would that make a great daycare center, right there, so.
And
Question?
regards with the with animal control,
Yes.
I think licensing cats, this is just my opinion, is far-fetched, because there's still so many unlicensed dogs. So good luck trying to get people to license a cat,
Well-
but that's not, my
well,
question is,
One of the things we talked about, I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, was, cost you $15 to license your dog. If you don't license your dog, if there were a civil penalty of $50, if they came to you and knocked on the door and asked you to provide proof of your dog license, would that provide an incentive for you to license your dog? With the understanding that, we would have an animal control officer and we would put out a notice, animal control officer will be going through, XYZ subdivision on these days. If you license your dog, you're good. If you don't license your dog, they'll be writing tickets.
Let me see your
Tickets are
papers.
$50. I beg your pardon?
Let me see your papers.
yeah, my response to that would be, I would find that
Very,
highly invasive,
as
and
in
borderline, a
Nazi.
violation of my personal property rights, and that wouldn't fly with me.
Okay.
However, if I was in a public park with my dog,
Uh-huh.
and I got stopped and approached, that's a different story, but to come into my yard,
Neighborhood,
yeah,
knock on your door.
yeah.
okay.
I-
What if you got some sort of a notice in the mail? Would you respond to it?
A notice of it's time to renew your dog license, or it's time to license your dog?
Yeah, have you licensed your dog? Because you need to know that they know if your dog is licensed or
I
not.
would
if
be
you have
much
a dog.
more receptive to that,
Okay.
because even with licensing a dog, if you take your dog to the vet and get its proper vaccines,
Yes,
then you have to register your dog with the county through.
you don't have to,
Office?
no, it's not mandated. Some
That
of
would be a better step to take, I
Sure.
would think, for the county to look into getting into some communication with our local veterinary offices, so when people bring in for their rabies and their
which you have to have before you can get your license. They won't license you unless
And
you
not
get
only
it.
that, though, also, in other counties, townships collect dog licenses too. In our county, they don't do it, so for people that have to go down to the county.
You
You
can do it
can get
online.
it at the vet.
You can do it
You can
online.
get
I
you can
give
do
it
at
at
the vet.
that, but
And you
I'm
can do
just
it
saying.
online.
And you can now do it online, which is nice,
Oh,
so.
I don't know.
I think we just need to publicize it more.
I think that's what it
Yeah.
is.
I think we need to let people know that if
And
they
that
do
money
it, it
goes
takes care of the animals, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
My other question is, I'm wondering if there's been any, research done in regards to how many hours spent by uniformed deputies taking dog complaints, taking barking dogs, bite complaints, animal control issues? That's the first part of my question.
Yes,
Because
they don't like to do it.
I know they
They're
don't.
not- They're not trained to do it, it's a totally separate kind of training.
I understand that, and I agree that we shouldn't tie up a deputy doing animal issues, because they're not trained. But the fact is they've been doing it for years, so I'm wondering if anybody has pulled the daily logs and done study many hours has been spent by a uniformed deputy, and let's say it's 25 hours a week. Well, I know an animal control officer makes less than a uniformed deputy, so for budgeting purposes,
Yeah, well,
looking at,
you're asking great questions, and I would just tell you that, right now, animal control is under the auspices of the health department, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It should be in the sheriff's department. So I'm working to try and, convince the sheriff it should be in the sheriff's department, because, they don't wanna do it unless they're properly compensated to do it and have the tools that they need to do it, et cetera, et cetera. So, there's a lot of moving parts that have to be accomplished. I mean, the good news right now is we have 2 animal control officers, so that's a big step up from when I came on, where we had a half officer. So, right now we have 2, but that ends in September, because they seem to think that there are more animals from, May to September than there are from September back to May. Like the summer dogs or something, the dogs of summer. So there's a lot of emotion involved with animal control, and as far as a ticket item, we're talking $250,000 maybe. I mean, I'm spitballing. Right now they've got about 130, which is not enough to do the job. But let's say it's 250. I mean, really, we can't come up with $250,000 to protect the vulnerable. I mean, that's part of our job, is to protect the vulnerable members of our society. And I think animals fall within that class. Now, maybe that makes me a bleeding heart Republican, but but I do think we have to protect them. So, all right, thank you. Good discussion. I appreciate your time. You all have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Sherilyn, thank you for
The
last
bonds?
month's meeting for approving the bonds.
That was
Blair
very
Township,
moving,
I'll
guys.
speak on the entire behalf of Blair Township and the people.
Way to save money. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Take care.
Community police officer report. Matt is at the fair this week. He texted me earlier and said if there was anything major or pressing to let him know, but his focus is the fair. And I guess it's been busy up there already. EMS report.
Good evening, Dean O'Brien, Blair Township EMS Director. For the record, I have a dog and he is in fact licensed. And I think cats should be licensed because they are the devil's animal and we should keep track of them.
It is on tape.
EMS report, brief summary, Acumen, our billing, has now started processing the billing. We've yet to see any reimbursements come in, but that's just because they've been starting, they've billed for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. We're working out some kinks now, but already much easier to work with than our previous bill. There's gonna be some moderate lifting on our end, changing on how we kind of get information we might have to, and we have in the past solicited billing information from our patients during the course of our calls, but that may change. We're looking for a workaround so we don't have to do that with the hospital. But these are all just minor details that are gonna help them bill the patient, that will help us get reimbursement. Update in the training center, we're moving along. Greg Johnson, who's one of our part-time employees, is a full-time employee with Lehman, is assisting in that. He's an IC as well. We're hoping that by the end of September, we will be a CE sponsorship, which means we can do CE training in-house without any cost of sending our guys out for certain training. Some training will still have to do that, but it's a limited cost. And furthermore, we hope to bring outside people in to train where we could charge them, which would be an added revenue source for us, so we're still working on that. All our vehicles are in service right now, a couple of them are at the fair right now. Business development. We've talked about the intercept agreements and revisiting those, we pushed those back, we gave our partners 90 days notice, that is till the end of September, so, with the hiring of the new emergency services director, we're waiting for that to start initiating those discussions, so we can do that on an even keel and have our ducks in a row. The Green Lake intercept changes, So there's been some discussion on that. And the chief of Green Lake and myself had a meeting with Med Control. Med Control is the medical overseeing board of all EMS in this northwest region of the state here. Our medical director, Dr. Smith, and Laura Criddle, the Med Control director, myself and Chief Cutway had a meeting to discuss who would be the primary response for that eastern side of Green Lake. Traditionally, we've been the primary, we've been the closest EMS agency. Chief Cutway maintains and adheres to the fact that that is his township and he will be the primary. We have to honor that, that is their township and that's their decision. We do still have in place an intersect agreement where we do provide paramedic services, which means we provide paramedic services to those patients on the east side of Green Lake as well as all of Green Lake. It is our purview on how we respond to those patients, and we decided that those patients will respond with an ambulance to providers. So if that patient needs immediate transport to the hospital, despite where their residency is, we'll be able to transport that patient. We're gonna take the stance of what's in the best interest of the patients, and move forward from there. So, the director from Green Lake also advised during that meeting that their intention is to go ALS within the year, and so that this would be a moot point, because they're gonna respond to all their patients ALS. That's their plan, and that's what they advised during that meeting, so. So that's what we have, you know, to adjust to, and Green Lake is their township, and they have every right to do that. There's no way for Med Control to compel them to change anything. Go ahead. Question? But, as I said, we're gonna continue to do what's best for our patients and our crews, regardless of what township they live in and status they live in. Restructuring, near complete tonight. The board will have a discussion on the hiring of the new Director of Emergency Services. With that, our staffing has changed. We have one definite opening, and we anticipate a second opening by the end of tonight, for our full-time staff. We'll be looking to, by the next board meeting, have 2 candidates for the board to approve. We already initiated the hiring process by posting the position out. I understand some resumes have come in, I'm not sure how many, but, they're starting to come in. Resume acceptance will be open till the 18th. I believe that's the date.
I can't remember.
It's the 18th, thing online.
That sounds about right.
The statistical report, 181 requests for service, for August. We're in a busy season. Township itself, we had 106 runs. Our call times, about even with last month, no significant, increase or decrease, so we're about even with last month on our response times. Continue to try to keep our out the door time under 2 minutes. Our average dispatch to en route time is 1.9 minutes, so we're underneath that 2-minute benchmark that we're trying to keep it around 2 minutes to respond to a call. All those other calls, are consistent in the past. Once we get on the road, you know, miles and miles, 5.8 minutes to township calls, 14.15 minutes to intercepts, and that is within, acceptable timelines. So that concludes my report, unless the board has any questions for me.
I think you said Dr. Smith, apparently he did not think that that was the wisest decision that he could
Correct.
make.
Dr. Smith, was of the opinion that that probably wasn't in the best interest of the patients for a patient to wait 10, maybe 15 minutes for a transporting ambulance from Interlochen to, say, across the street. Explain that, and it was understood that Green Lake understands that as well, but, their argument was that they received, complaints from their residents that, they were paying taxes to Green Lake, but Blair was showing up. There was no names or really any details on that. There was some further discussion on the fact that those patients that were concerned that Blair was showing up, maybe the same patients that may be concerned that they're waiting in a household for 15 minutes for an ambulance to show up. And the director said, well, that'll be their problem, that they'll deal with that, so. They're maintaining that
5 minutes away
Okay,
versus
it's
20.
for BLS
It
too.
wasn't, yeah, it's
Okay.
always been the closest, most appropriate transporting ambulance.
Isn't that
And
state
Green
law?
Lake Township is right across the street. We also, Blair would cover Duck Lake Peninsula, East Duck Lake Road, Mason Road, that area, because we are the closest, most appropriate. So, my question
Yes.
is, and I agree 100%. And I'm grateful that Blair will be able to administratively make the decision whether to send an echo or a transporting ambulance for priority ones. I mean, if somebody goes down in anaphylaxis, cardiac arrest, I know that you guys are gonna respond with a transporting ambulance.
Correct.
I agree with that, and I'm glad that you're doing that. But let me make this clear, and I guess I'm saying this because I want this on the record and for public to be aware. When and if Green Lake goes advanced life support, Blair will 100% be taken out of the equation. We will not be being dispatched for any priority calls. So right across the street, if it's a priority one, it's going to be Green Lake dispatch, 100%.
That's what I believe, outside of mutual aid meaning they're busy, and so we would be their backup, and we would expect them to be our backup as well.
My other thing, I guess, I'd like to ask you guys, the EMS department, is I know for a fact, with my history of coming from EMS and fire, that the Duck Lake Peninsula residents count on Blair EMS. They have historically, it is an elderly population out there. The majority of the calls are advanced life support calls. My fear is when they call 911 now, and they're waiting, if it's in the daytime, it could be up to 14 minutes, 15 minutes before an ambulance can get there. What is Green Lake Ambulance going to say to these residents when they say, "Where's Blair?" I want the Green Lake Township residents to know that this has nothing to do with Blair Township. This was not our decision. We don't support it. We don't endorse it. It truly means life and death, perhaps, in some situations. And I want them to know that our team, our EMS team, has fought to prevent this from happening to the med control level. So how do we professionally, or,
To the state level.
right, get this out to our Green Lake Township residents? We have utilized this for all of these years, and God forbid somebody die because of this.
The opinion of Blair EMS, the opinion of the local med control, or medical director for EMS, and through med control, the opinion of the state that this was not a choice that would be entirely in the best interest of the patient. With that said, a township is a township, and they have the choice of how they're gonna respond to residents in the township, so unfortunately, what you said is correct.
So could we draft a letter, perhaps, or maybe attend, a lake association meeting over on Duck Lake Peninsula? Just to let those people know what's happening. People have a right to know. And I think if the people knew, especially when it comes down to life and death, and what was happening, if Mr. Cutway thinks that he's gotten a few complaints from taxpayers about getting an ambulance bill, I think he might, have just opened up a ball of worms.
Well, I think a letter that advises their residents that this was not a Blair decision would be appropriate.
Right.
I've advised my staff that if on a call and while waiting for a Green Lake transporting vehicle and ambulance to show up, to remain professional and to explain that this was, Green Lake's decision, that this is how we respond to your township, and that, if you have any questions, you suggest that they contact Green Lake's, town hall.
And I just, so the board members know and are aware of this, there's a prioritized dispatch, 1, 2, 3, and 5. 5 is deceased. Priority 1 is high priority, that's your allergic reaction, your stroke-like symptoms, cardiac symptoms. 2 is still a dispatch where you get a paramedic and a basic life support ambulance, that's their conscious alert talking, maybe numbness in an arm, respond priority two with an echo, they're waiting for an ambulance. When they get there, it actually is a priority one. So now there's one of them on scene, and somebody's in cardiac arrest in front of them. They're one person, and I worry now about the mental health also of our people in the event somebody doesn't make it. And we've got one of our people on there on scene who's gonna, and I'm speaking from experience. I know what that feels like, and it's not good.
Yes, that is the concern, and, you know, that's why we're asking our staff to respond with ambulance to progress well, priority one. Priority two, as per what they hear over the radio in their discussion. And priority three, which is the one which is ankle sprain or unknown medical is the big thing, is dispatch doesn't know, so they send priority three, which is a BLS ambulance. That ambulance, be across the street, 633 is coming from your office without Blair being dispatched, because it was a priority three, no priority. And so the concern is that delay, that 20-minute, 15-minute response to across the street. You walk in and this is a patient that required immediate transport. And so now they do have to call the other paramedic. That's gonna be another 5 minutes. So that is, you know, part of the concerns, and all these concerns were brought up at the med control meeting, and they were acknowledged as understood by Green Lake. But they maintain that their residents, are concerned that Blair is responding to calls in their township and that they will take care of their township.
One more question I have, and this is just, I'm just trying to do my due diligence and, looking out for you guys as well as the people, because it's wrong. Are we aware, does the Green Lake Township Board know about this?
I'm unaware of the township board being aware.
So perhaps doing our due diligence and protecting, I know they're Green Lake Township residents, but they're people, they're human beings, and we know this is wrong on every level. So perhaps we need to, I need to, you need to, you guys approach the board at a board meeting. Get it out in the public. I feel like we owe these people that information. I feel like maybe perhaps this is being done a little sneaky. And my concern is for the residents of Green Lake, just like my concern is for our residents of Blair Township. And I think doing due diligence just to make sure that that board is aware. And if they are aware, have they really thought about it, and do they understand? Because again, I don't think there's anybody on that board over there who has any history or experience with fire and EMS. So,
Well,
How do you feel
I'm not
about
sure
that?
where, I'm not sure where their board is on that. I know that this would be a decision that I would bring to my board,
yeah,
prior to
Yeah.
EMS.
yeah,
I've, things like this in the past and places I've seen otherwise, plans, good or bad, can be changed when there's an open dialogue and
Yes.
things are out in the light. I approached it from my end, as an EMS director and through medical control. I would, encourage and suggest other people that have other avenues of discussion with your counterparts in Green Lake, maybe you would wanna do that as well.
Is there a cost? Could people that complain because of a fee or something they incurred? Or-
There is, and this is where it gets convoluted. There is a BLS rate and an ALS rate. So if you're transported for BLS, which is the lower level of care, you have a certain rate, and for the sake of argument, let's just say $500. If you're in ALS, let's just say $1,000. So we transport in Blair, a resident is a ALS call saves $1,000. We have a millage, they have a soft bill, we bill their insurance company, they do not.
do a one-on-one meeting with anybody. I'll approach the board in a board meeting, so it's a full board, so words can't be twisted and turned around, but I need to do that for myself, for my heart.
It might make a larger statement. We all showed up, all the powerful board showed up at
I'll
the
go.
board meeting.
Come on.
Because I can't imagine something like this happening without the board decision.
Well, I've talked to some of the residents over there already, and they don't believe it, but they says we're gonna follow up on it. So whether they do or not, I don't know.
Perhaps a resolution to this board showing support for continuing services for the best interest of all residents, and then taking that resolution to Green Lake with one board member versus an attack from, you might put them on defense instead of opening the communication if you all show up.
Thank you for that input, I agree.
If he's gonna weigh in, I'd like to weigh in. You had mentioned that your response time overall for the year was very solid, pitch perfect. How much of that was for the township that we're talking about?
Well, it was an average, so our average, and we're talking about intercept, response times, it was an average of 15.5 minutes. Green Lake is probably our closest intercept partner, so our response times would be, you know, if we're going to the west side of Green Lake, would be 10-15 minutes. Across the street of 633 would be 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay, so as far as funding, then that was considered in your budget?
Well, we have an intercept agreement with them. As far as funding, that historically has been our primary response area, so that has been figured into all our annual budgets for responding to the west side of Green Lake, which has, as long as I've been here, has been our primary response area.
So if we cut out any of that, then we're gonna be cutting our own budget.
It's not gonna be a huge, reduction in any reimbursements we have, it's not, and this is the caveat I wanna explain to the board too, it's not gonna be a huge hit to our budget, it's just that those patients that we've historically served, you know, along 633 and Duck Lake Peninsula have been, practical in our being their primary responder. Drafting a resolution and going to the board, may serve its purposes, but it also presents a picture of a turf war. We want those patients back, they're our patients, which is not really the case because the money or any reimbursements that we're getting, it's a break-even proposition at best. It's not a hit to our bottom line, it's probably the opposite. But, you know, being EMS director, you know, it's a push-pull. You know, you look at the bottom line, but you also, your primary number one thing is what's in the best interest of your patients despite geographical and political borders
Exactly.
and things that go with that.
And that's exactly how the resolution should be written.
Therefore, we should be the foremost in servicing not only our community, but the local community and asking the other communities to support us in our efforts.
I would agree with that.
I agree, sir, 100%. And when it comes down to life safety, and it is the closest, most appropriate. And it is not, I know, I've looked at your budget, I've looked at these numbers with you, we've been talking about this for quite a while now. It is not, for Blair Township, it is not about money. It is about patient care and doing what these guys have
We're first on,
dedicated their
and I
life for.
appreciate your support. We're first on.
So, you know, as it stands, you know, with any lack of ability to compel practical reason, Green Lake is Green Lake, and they're gonna respond primarily to their residents. And we're gonna honor our intercept agreement with them. How we respond as an intercept unit is our choice, and we're gonna do what's in the best interest of the patient. You should.
Well, you see, he's enclosed his statistics for the month of July. Self-explanatory, I don't believe that there was any major issues with anything.
You know, I would like to see financial dollars on here. I mean, are any of these reimbursable that we're waiting to get monies back?
Structure fire, yes, perhaps. PIA, if there was a Canon, there was extrication, go for that, so. We can ask for that. He's got, and speaking of, he's got the memo, did you guys read? Fire recovery has actually, recommended increasing, we're way below the standard, I think 12%.
Oh, that's an agenda item.
Oh, okay.
I'll tuck it back in.
Yeah. And also, with the chief's report I passed around earlier, it just came in today, the chief was awarded the $1,400 grant to finish his fire investigation
Nice,
training school, paid for by Parkland.
great.
Starting in February, he'll start attending the classes. He will have within 6 months to complete the program and be licensed. And he will be certified state licensed fire inspector, which will be a huge benefit
Yep.
for the township. Okay. Grand Traverse County Road Commission.
Might be important. I like, and also have a dog and have my dog's license. Set up a good precedent there. Also, as a Green Lake resident, I appreciate all you guys have done. I've been on many different scenes of fires and accidents and all that, and both townships have secured great, fire and ambulance, so thank you guys for what you've done as president out there. And that kind of ties into one of the things that I think are important. I sent you an email, I think you got it finally, about how we all have to work together. The townships, the county road commission, everybody, we're all one big community. So hopefully we can get something worked out to get some of those, dirt roads taken care of, or gravel roads. That was more a sand road than anything else after I drove out it. I know they're gonna go out there and look at maybe doing some maintenance under our general maintenance, so that might take care of some of those issues. I believe it was Lemcool Road.
Correct.
It's awful.
I can give you a few more.
I'm sure there's plenty. Anytime I get a call from somebody, I try to go out within a week and take a look at the road so I can see what they're talking about, but sometimes people are a little hypersensitive, but she was not. That lady, that resident of yours is dead on, it is in bad shape.
That's the one that she said wasn't being plowed or anything, wasn't it?
She said that 1 year it wasn't plowed, and then we've got, the driver who was there is no longer with us, we've got a new driver, and she said, oh, this year's been okay. So I believe that situation's been taken care of. If we don't get calls in our office about roads not being taken care of, we don't know. I mean, we can look at our computer if we know there's an issue, see did the plow go up and down the road, but we don't have alerts set up that say this road hasn't been plowed.
Have you ever heard of a road, in Blair Township called Hoosier Valley?
Yeah.
Just one.
I have a lot to do with
That's
that.
a
That's a
road, right?
completely different discussion about what I know about Hoosier Valley. with, accents, we're trying to, we're looking at that, there was, I
That's
can't
East
remember.
Mayo.
Is that, I get all confused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
But anyways,
Blair
there's a
Township
lot of
only
accents.
has, like from
Yeah.
here to Erica Van away.
That we're gonna be redoing some stuff out there that's
I mean, East
hopefully
Mayo.
gonna take care of some stuff, which may affect your residents who travel that road. South and east is 29 accidents that were fairly serious, and the other directions were all 1 or 2. So we know there's something that way we gotta look at. I got all excited about what you said, so I forgot everything I was gonna tell you guys. As a resident, I'm kinda concerned, and I hope that you guys can open up, change the lines of communication, get that taken care of, just like we can with roads and everything else. Oh, South Airport Road and Barlow Road is gonna be fun to travel. We're trying to do night paving on South Airport from Lafreniere/Barlow to Garfield. That road needs to be taken care of, so we're getting taken care of. Finally got some federal money for that. Barlow is some state money we're getting, the federal as well, take care of that, so that's gonna be kind of congested until about September 1st.
Did Elmer's win that bid? Elmer's are doing it.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I'm very pleased with the work that Elmer's does. They've done a great job, and we've had very few issues of follow-up work. Cass Road, probably around the 14th is the date I'm hearing that they're gonna shut that bad boy down. So, that's all gonna come out, and hopefully it's only gonna be a short period of time. They're talking, I don't know what that really results, so they're talking a month or so. Because they're trying to get everything staged and ready to go, and all the dirt's piled up, and that's gonna make an interesting drive on Keystone once they get that 2 lanes open and increase the traffic by almost double the carrying capacity of that bridge will be. But that'll hopefully ease some of the other areas that we've got congestion like South Airport.
Well, my son travels it every day, and he loves it when Cass Road is closed.
Me too. That's all I've got I can think of right now, because I'm really kind of fired up about the other stuff I did see.
Okay, well, let me leave it up. Have you heard anything from your board in regards to our speed study for Sawyer
I have
Road?
not heard anything yet.
Because it's my understanding that as the process, we got the process rolling, so then it goes to you board members for your blessing to say, yes, we support this, and then you pass it on to the state police.
I believe Mr. Cook was supposed to get in touch with you on that, to give you a heads up on something that we're not supposed to give you heads up on.
Gotcha. Good, okay.
Excuse me, is that the Sawyer Road in Curtis, where where the road crosses over?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole
Along
nother,
31,
no, that's a whole
the
nother
west.
topic, right, that intersection.
Oh, the light above
This
that
is-
road is out.
That light has always been out. When,
I was driving it last night, I go, oh, I gotta tell them.
yeah, no, they took that out when they put the pole
Okay.
right at, Sawyer up, but, yeah, that's a whole
That's a
other
danger zone.
intersection.
Many
But this is
people
the
that-
speed study for Sawyer Road from Blair Town Hall Road right out to the highway, to slow, the speed limit's 55 on Sawyer Road, can you believe that?
Is that all?
And once again, I would
Okay.
recommend that anyone who is traveling that road drive at a rate of speed that they feel safe, because the state police will look at the 85th percentile, so if you're doing 55, it's probably gonna stay there.
If I go 75.
You'll probably get pulled over at 75.
Yeah, no,
Matt would like to say hi to you, and maybe
I
give you a
don't.
piece of paper.
The road commission's been great for me as a new official. Deb and Jim, they call me back, they leave messages, they keep me in the loop. I appreciate the open communication. I appreciate when I see them at meetings. They thank me. Jim thanks me for coming and being involved and wanting to be involved. If I have tree and limb issues, I call them, and Toby is on it and calling back saying, yep, it's in the right of way, or no, it's not. So I appreciate that. I like the working relationship that we're all striving to have. I feel it.
We wanna hear from you guys, and that's important. Like I said, we've got so many miles of road, and if we don't hear about it, we don't know what issues that you and your residents are seeing. I'm sure you're hearing about it more than we are.
I
Every day.
agree with you 100%. The Curtis Road though, that crossover is so dangerous. We have so many people from Holiday Park, campground that are off seasonals.
Yep.
And we need to take care of, well, our visitors as well as our people.
That unfortunately that's not county road, that's MDOT because it's a state highway. And, we're working with MDOT right now in regards to Rennie's School and US 31, and of course our Blair Town Hall and M37. And that's an MDOT process.
This all gets
and
really
it's
confusing, you hear
hard.
about
I
roads,
agree
whether
with
county
you.
road,
Yeah,
or city road, or
it's-
state road,
Yeah.
whose
If
road?
there's another death or two, then MDOT's gonna step in.
They actually don't consider the deaths.
But at one time, they were talking about just closing off Curtis altogether to.
We were just talking about that today. It said whoever designed Curtis Road with that hill and didn't require that hill to be cut
Yeah.
back, I don't know what they were thinking.
I've been on an accident.
Were you
I was on 31 and somebody pulled out on Curtis Road and hit me.
Yeah, we were just talking about that intersection today, but in the light, that's,
I just remember you said, let me know if you see
that's,
more.
yeah, I appreciate that.
He said Curtis went, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And the resident who let me know about, I can't remember which light it was that you got back, I was pretty thankful. Every day he tells me thank you.
East Mobile and Sawyer,
Yes.
yep,
I'm like, there's your supervisor.
a traffic, not
Oh.
traffic, but a street
Strobe
light.
light.
Street light,
Illumination, so you knew where to turn into his.
yeah.
And
Stop
what does the
signs
road
are-
commission have to do that?
I work with the gentleman and I contacted your supervisor and she
Okay,
got that
Gotcha.
taken care of.
I thought you, never mind.
We work together.
Right,
Confusing me.
right.
Anything else? I could ramble all night about nothing.
I can
I mean,
too.
yeah.
Oh,
And I can just keep saying,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
okay,
because-
yeah.
All right, thank you.
We
Thank
talked
you.
about-
Announcements and correspondence.
Yes. Of course, over the weekend, I went to the trustees' professional development, training, and I thought, well, that's great, there was 9 classes there. And I thought it was great, one was boards that speak with one voice, the other one was your role in the public eye, the other one was interlocal contracts and agreements, the other one, what every trustee needs to know about assessing, that was all just Saturday. Sunday was employment policy and practices, state and local relationships, how you state and your local for the county and for the townships, how it should work together, and building a better board meeting, tips for engaging the community, which talked about social media, and putting out a survey, which we do. And when they were talking about the good things, I thought they were talking about Blair, so that was good. And, so that was good, and then of course, road rules, okay, about, state and your county road commission and the townships, which, so, but I did get a lot out of that, I am glad I went to it. There was a lot of sitting, of course, like I said, from, Saturday from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, sitting, and then on Saturday, Sunday from 8 to 4, so, but that was good, I'm glad I went, because I believe that's gonna help me do a great job as a trustee. I wanna thank you all for letting me go, okay? Cool, thank you.
Thank you for
Oh,
going.
also, my wife did have fun, spent all day Saturday shopping at Frankenwood and all day Sunday at Birch Rock. So, while I was sitting in the meetings, so, thank you again, okay?
Thanks, Carl. I have an announcement,
Okay.
small one. I, signed the grant agreement today for our election equipment, and we should have it here sometime in September, so
Good.
I'm excited.
Yes.
I don't have anything to say.
That's unusual.
Right. We did get a thank administration, which that information wasn't left and it wasn't relayed on to the new administration, who then booked for another family reunion of 150 people for the pavilion. And on Saturday, we had two separate families, non-related, with 100 to 150 people each with handicap. Yeah, so Tracy was, she called me, I was home, I came down here, I met her on the sidewalk where she had been surrounded by two separate families and wanting a solution right now, because family members were showing up, and what are we gonna do? In the pavilion way in the back, there wasn't the electricity, and they all had slow cookers and this and that, and the only option we came up with, we went old school, and we opened up the township hall. And I went over and got the fire EMS guys who were here, Eric was here, Grant Johnson, Andy McHugh, they had a rider. Eric wasn't even on duty, he was off duty, doing a report or something. I said, you guys, we've got this situation, they said, well, let's do it. They hauled out all the tables, they set up the chairs, they put people's food, they hauled everything out of their cars, they transported the people in. And the family that was in here was grateful, happy, the place was cleaner when they left than when they got here. I have watched them, they had their own toilet paper, the people in the park were happy, everybody was happy, and it was thrown together last second. And this was a thank you letter, that was left, and the place was spotless, including the bathrooms. They mopped and washed the window, it was perfect, and left this letter. And the guys gave tours to some of their family members, with fire apparatus and the ambulance, and it was really cool, and they were really happy. Can you read that?
Nicole, thank you for fixing a problem that was left over. You are truly an inspiration of positive energy for our township. I voted for the right, I'm not sure if this says women or woman. Our family was comfortable and able to share a great day together. Hope we left everything clean and close to the usual order. We were blessed for this day. Every year we lose more of our family. It is important to share time with them. This is our community family. Blessings to all of you. The word gets out. We know the truth of who cares for our community. Thank you, firemen, for rescuing us, letting us ride the truck. Signed Kim Lewick, Wade McKittrick, and a couple other names. Kim, I can't read the
That's fine.
signatures.
And the message, they wanted it relayed to fire EMS and to this board that, you know, it was a situation and it could have been a lot worse, and it ended up being really cool.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, thank you for handling that in such a great manner.
Yeah. And the guys ended up eating with them for their family reunion.
I've heard nothing but good responses to that water park. I've met people that were victims of the groundwater dam and you know, the regular water there. But, just absolutely, they won't even go to the downtown park, they said they'll come to water. You guys did a wonderful job. Thank you, EMS and the fire department for your support.
Okay, Item 9, consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the public, board, or staff may ask that any item of the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full board discussion. Such requests will automatically be respected. Is there any member from the public that would like anything pulled? Any board member or staff?
I would like the general fund check register pulled. Tracy brought to my attention. Check number 33065 should be from the liquor law fund for $10,000 to the fire department. That's money we transfer from the liquor law fund to the fire fund for the community police officer. And check number 33066, which shows it's a void, should be, it's Cherryland Electric for $7.35. It's what it says 33065 is. That was a mistake on my part. That's all I've got.
I had a question, with the water fund, and I actually meant to ask you today and totally forgot.
Yeah,
But the Cherryland Electric,
yeah,
with that total,
yeah.
that's a monthly electric bill
For the water
for the
plant.
water plant?
Mhm.
Okay.
We vote more solar panels?
Yeah, no kidding, yeah, yes. Yeah,
We need some wind
Does-
turbines.
does we need that also. That's amazing, for 1 month. It's on the to-do list.
It's $3,689 if anybody wants it. It's a monthly.
Just
I'm,
from,
of course, it's lower in the winter, but not a ton lower.
Well, with the dam and the changing of the way electricity is gonna be distributed, have they talked to you about lowering the cost? Or have you talked to them about
To
any cost
Cherryland?
changes? Yes.
Due to what now? The,
Now, isn't Cherryland related to the dam?
I don't think
No.
so.
That's-
No.
It, I think it's TC Light and Power
Oh.
might be.
So what's this Wolverine there? I see Wolverines coming into the play area.
That is, I think they're partners with Cherryland in some way, I believe.
I think Cherryland gets their power from Lone.
Yeah, some of it anyways. Yeah.
So they'll be probably long-term players that we need to look at.
we can add that to
Not
our,
today, but
yeah, to our look into list as we get through this first,
I see
the
the
first
woman.
year and, yeah. Is there anything else on the consent calendar anybody has? Okay, unfinished business. Oh,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the change on the general fund check register.
it's been moved and supported to approve the consent calendar with the change on the general fund
Check register.
check register. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unfinished business. Resolution number 2017-17. This is to address the collection of payments or refunds on taxes under and or over $5.
And I talked to the county suggested a policy, but MTA suggested a resolution, so we went with the resolution since we already had one. And I emailed everybody a copy of the new resolution today. And that, so I just reworded it so that, you reconcile it at the end of the tax year, which will be next March, April, and that with the general fund. So whatever is over and short that we pay in, we reconcile at year end, and we either withdraw money from the general fund to pay back tax, or we give money to the general fund for miscellaneous income. So either be a miscellaneous expense or miscellaneous income reconciled into the general fund or out of the general fund.
In regards to amounts totaling $5 or
Less,
less.
right.
Still good.
resolution number 2017-17 to address the collection of payments or refunds on taxes under or over $5.
I'll second.
It's been moved and supported to adopt resolution 2017-17 to address the collection of payments and or refunds on taxes under or over $5. It actually should be just under $5, right?
No, under or over. So we're not gonna send out a
Gotcha.
refund check if it's $354.
Roll call when you're ready, Jane.
Dyke,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
and Boncho.
Yes. New business. Item A, Director of Emergency Services Interview Committee recommendation. Does anybody have any questions? Concerns, comments?
Do we have the time, is it gonna be like a 7:30 to 6? Monday through Friday? Do we know a time schedule? Do we care?
We do.
I just wanna know when to expect it, because
Yes, it'll be a full-time position with normal, regular township hours. Probably a Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, and then I believe they figured out in their schedule with their calculation that there will be 24-hour a month that he would work, probably on a weekend, which will keep number one in his license credential skills, but also keep him working 24-hour shift as part of the team and on the street. That's my understanding.
Can I clarify? And spelled out in the initial proposal, this position would be the chief administrator of both departments. So with that would be mainly township hours, sliding every other week, to assist with maintaining a position of leadership here as close to 24/7 as we can. So that sliding would help that. But as administrator, he would be here during normal hours. He would be the face of both departments. The 24-hour shift served those purposes as well as a reduction in personnel costs of filling. As we discussed, those 72 hours of open shifts and part-timers, one of those a month would be filled by the director to help offset those costs. But moreover, I think the bigger importance would be to keep that administrating position close to the staff that he administrates, to be on the road at least once a month to work with and to hands-on and eyes-on to see any problems that may be coming, or any issues that he wants or should be aware of.
will that change yours and Jimmy's hours then, or?
It will. Per the proposal, Jimmy and I will be working 124 a week each. So for 24 hours a week, we will be working a shift along with our normal duties. And then 20 hours a week administrative training, operational. We will be the operational chiefs of department, director will be administrative director of the department. And as we discussed, it would, offset the costs of those open shifts, but also keep us able to operate and oversee our EMS and fire sides more directly, more closely, and concentrate on the operational aspects. So, yeah, our shifts will change too. We will be here 24 and then 2 10-hour days. And those will be scheduled to maintain that 24/7 of having some sort of leadership on a consistent basis, in a schedule where people will know when we're here. We're working with the schedule, we're close to it, but it won't be too complicated.
for training the next generation. Now, he's referring to an established group that I'm sure will serve our community wonderfully. But how much of that can we trim back on a budget to stipend for younger people to draw them closer? It's a training issue across the country. And if he enjoys that moment of being able to be elevated, then he should be able to enjoy drawing younger people in. I don't know how, maybe stipends, maybe cut back on the salary. We just need to look at the next generation, not the next people that are gonna be promoted to the next job.
Correct. And so that's part of the program, that's part of the vision, that's part of the master plan for emergency services, that's part of why they are setting this hierarchy, this chain of command up the way they are, because they are busy. I mean, they're doing over 2,000 calls a year, but from the business combined level to have the director, but then we have the chiefs of the division where they can actually go out and do that recruiting process. We will have in-house, training sessions. Dan spoke about that earlier with Greg Johnson and himself, where their ICs, they can train in-house, but that will be part of what they're doing, is the PR part and the recruiting process. We've not had a recruiting process for years. It is expensive, and EMS and fire service has evolved and changed. It's not the 55 hours of fire school and you can call yourself a firefighter anymore. It's 360 hours of fire school. It's physical agilities. It's way harder, way more detailed than what it used to be. But that's what this team is gonna focus on, because we do understand the next generation of paramedics coming in and firefighters coming in. And Blair Township EMS and fire will have great leaders, great administrators, great directors, great chiefs. They have amazing employees, and those are the people we want to be training our younger generation, and that's what we're striving for.
Thank you.
Mhm.
On the lighter side, I just wanna mention to you, I'm in the tax business. I've dealt with people for over 15 years. They come in and do a tax return, and they're writing off on their tax return their job-related expenses. I bought a CV, I bought lights for my vehicle, I bought this, I bought that. Those are little stipends where I'm referring to a budget of the salary. Unfortunately, I apologize, I know everybody would like to get their fair wage, but to cut back and allocate that to the younger people and pick up those costs. Say, well, you need horns, you need lights, you need CVs, you need your communications, instead of leaving them out to cover that cost themselves. But to set up some kind of graduation program
Yep.
where their costs would be covered,
Correct. And
So I
their
think we
training, their education,
as well as
that's what the team's going, part
the
of what they'll be.
immaterial costs, the little things.
And the fact is, and these guys are well aware of it, the commitment, dedication, and longevity of Blair Township EMS and fire employees is amazing. I mean, Eric's got 20 years, I had 25 years, and that population is aging, and they recognize that and understand that. So
So we're
key
assuming
is
we
to
have
keep
that.
these guys
Yeah.
as long as we can, to do that training and education and bring that next generation in, to be able to sustain, if not exceed, the level and skills that our township residents have received over the years. I mean, Blair Township has led the way in emergency services in Grand Traverse County. We still are the only advanced life support, dual role paramedic firefighters. People do still look at Blair, and with these guys leading the way, it's good. It's all good.
We'll look at the state
Yep.
now,
Yep.
nationally.
And we get that. We get the need for the younger.
They can do it.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you very much.
And I didn't, for the rest of the board members, I know Dennis, he was on the hiring committee. also came with some really, really impressive letters of recommendation from some, very affluent, respectable, the city fire chief, Chief Jim Teller. Some amazing, and I can make copies of those and give them to you just if you need, but, some very impressive letters of recommendation, and I kind of stepped out of this, I was in on the interview, but as a member of the committee, it was important for me to be in on there because of my experience, but with Eric being my partner for 17 years, I really let the decision be up to Dan O'Brien, Jim, Dennis, and then I agreed. But due to the partners for 17 years, I didn't have to cast the vote. It was unanimous amongst the three of them, and I concurred.
I agree.
So I guess I'm looking for somebody to make a motion.
I would make a motion to appoint Eric Somso as the Director of Emergency Services for Blair Township at a starting salary of $65,000 per year as proposed in the Emergency Services Restructuring Plan with a seniority date of 6/9/98 for vacation time purposes. And I was gonna say this, I should have said this before, with, current full-time and non-union employee benefits. Is that long enough?
Yes.
You're not gonna lose anything on it.
Support.
You won't lose any money or time or anything like that. 'Cause I know-
Well, he'll lose money.
He actually is taking
Yeah.
a major
Well,
pay
I
cut.
know that, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
because wasn't somebody that got promoted was losing money by taking the promotion to losing vacation time or something?
Dan, I think you might have lost some, yeah.
Yeah, it
What
was,
was the date?
His original hire date,
June of 1998.
So it was retroactive?
no, he just, for
His
For
seniority date.
vacation time purposes,
maintained.
our vacation is based on how many years you've been here. So he'll get whatever an employee who's been here 20 years would get for vacation time.
No,
Yeah,
he deserved it.
it's not very, it's really not. That one, I think it's 3 weeks.
Thanks for your 20 years, you get 3 weeks vacation. Is there a second for that motion?
Yes,
I
yes,
support
sorry.
it. I support it.
Carl beat you to it.
Oh, okay.
Carl beat him? Yep. It's been moved and supported to hire Eric Samsel as the Director of Emergency Services. With the recommended starting salary of $65,000 per year, along with his current full-time employee benefits. This is a non-union. And to maintain his seniority, which is his original date of full-time employment, June 9th, 1998. Roll call vote.
Campbell.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Bonshai.
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Kuchera.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Zeitz.
Yes.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Eric, for your years of service, your commitment, your dedication, your obvious true love for this township, and for being part of the 1998 crew when we went from a BLS to an ALS service, and, everything you've done for this township.
Thank
She wants you to make some popcorn now.
Excuse me.
Okay, item B, ordinance amendment number 120-05-17-01, emergency services change
charges ordinance. A couple of the next agenda items are fee increases, but before we did that, we need to amend the ordinance that allows us to change the fees. Because in section 2, letter A, it says the township board by resolution shall set or revise charges for emergency services that are provided by Blair Township Fire Department. And then it says the charges shall only be initially set or later revised after the township board has received a recommendation from the fire board regarding those charges. Well, we don't have a fire board anymore. So, we're gonna strike that sentence. So we just need approval on that change.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance amendment 120-05-1701 for emergency service changes or charge orders.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve emergency services charges ordinance amendment 120-05-17-01. Roll call vote, Jane?
Sights,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Landshine,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Item C, rate increase for emergency services charges.
So now we're just approving the rate increase. And we included, fire recovery's recommendation and our current charges and the recommended charges. So we just need to, adopt resolution 2017-22. And we go.
Yes. 2017-22.
Yes. I hate it when we did this like over a week and a half ago, and then I forget.
Yeah.
So yes, we need to, Dennis is ready.
Okay, I make a motion to approve resolution number 2017-22 as a new resolution to set.
You know what? Just did not seem right. I don't, no. It's gotta be though, 'cause it's gotta, this year's
It's,
resolution number. Okay,
Right.
shut up.
okay, because here's the current rates and then,
That's good. That's good.
you are, I'll support that motion. It's been moved and supported to adopt resolution number 2017-22. The resolution to approve the rate increase for emergency services charges. Roll call when you're ready, Jane.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Landshine,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Sights.
Yes.
Okay, I have to ask this. Normally, we do our public input, you know, public input, but this is a small group. No, it's cool, but I just need to know who you are. I don't, you look familiar, but I can't place you.
My name's Gary Garriman.
Okay.
You already passed a resolution, I was just wondering how the fees were assessed. Because I was unfamiliar with the prior fees assessment in the resolution.
Yes. I know Dan could speak on the behalf of the emergency service, well, I could too, but he's here.
Yeah.
But with the fire, again, it's statewide looked at, it's insurance company recommendation for how much they'll cover. If you have a car fire, how much the insurance carrier will pay. So the fees basically are set by insurance companies. We statistically have been below the standard. So we only increase increase it based on the recommendation that's set by the standard, across the state. We don't
But-
say, oh,
but it doesn't
we're
give-
gonna charge you,
Right.
like $10,000.
So, but that's what I'm,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't give them that leeway to just
No.
throw a number
No.
out there.
No, and they always back up their
Wrong.
information when they provide it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Item D, full-time paramedic firefighter interview committee.
We're seeking, the development, or put together a committee to hire, we do one, but after, the approval of Eric Thompson, we need two, full-time, paramedic firefighters. Fortunately, we had to see Ty, go, he took a position with Traverse City Fire, we wish him all the luck, it's gonna remain as a part-time employee, but we need to fill his position, and now we need to fill Eric's position. Both positions will be hard to fill, considering who was in that position before them. Ty, was a great full-time employee, we're sad to see him go, but, if we can find somebody, to replace him, that will, fit in at Blair. So we're just looking for, just as we always do, we already, initiated the hiring process with, posting the position, requesting resumes, and we need a committee to interview, these positions, and recommend to the board for the September board meeting, for approval. My recommendation is, to have, combination of the senior emergency services management and line staff, as we did with, Mr. Stahl, our latest hire, who's working on, we knew that the input of the staff that they're working with during this process is important, and then the discretion of the board, anyone else that would like on that committee.
I agree. I agree. I don't know if this is the time where I add this opinion of mine. But rather than every single time we have an opening to have to wait for a board meeting, to set up an interview committee, for every single different position,
I think we're in the process, or we're about to be in the process of revising our policies and procedures not only for the township, but for emergency services. And I think that whoever's on that committee from the emergency services side, the recommendation would be to have a, procedure in place for, on notice of a vacancy, somebody's in their notice, or somebody leaves, about to be on a termination, that automatically initiates the process to expedite this process to, put out the opening and to already have a committee in place, pre-approved, so we can get to that next board meeting with people in hand, so we don't go 2.5 months out without, those positions not being filled. One, keeps that overtime cost down, that the other staff members have to come in and cover those openings. But two, the stage of flux of who are you gonna work with, who's gonna be here, who's gonna get the job over an extended period of time is taxing not only the staff, but on our potential new hires too.
what that motion was into the policy. Does that make sense? What?
Yeah, so,
Spell it, Nicole.
well, I'll just say it. I like Dan's recommendation of them picking, and I'll say it, nobody else has, but I'll be on the interview committee for, as the board representative.
Is that good, Kim?
Okay, so to be clear, the Director of Emergency Services, the EMS Chief and the Fire Chief, as well as 2 staff members, that we invite, and Supervisor Boncher to be on this hiring committee for these 2 open positions for firefighter and paramedic.
I would make a motion to appoint a permanent EMS and fire interview committee consisting of, what's your new title, Eric? Director of Emergency Services, the fire chief, the EMS chief, 2 EMS fire staff members, and the township supervisor.
I support that.
It's been moved and supported to set up a permanent hiring committee for emergency services consisting of the Director of Emergency Services, the Emergency Services Chief, the Fire Chief, 2 emergency services employees, and the township supervisor.
I said an interview committee. You said a hiring committee.
Oh, interview committee,
I just
that's what I
wanted to
meant, yes.
clarify.
an interview committee. Roll call.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Bonchon,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Now can I weigh in? After hearing about Duck Lake, can we ask that township to contribute to a special fund to, because my first thought is, where's the money gonna come from? And if we're servicing these areas, can we not have, see if we can
Yeah.
set up a special fund to help?
We're already set up, so through a millage with our residents, which they have an X number of employees. Part of the advanced life support, was to have the echo unit. And I don't know how much you,
No,
You know,
I'm following you.
but yeah, it's,
So the
they're good.
townships that we're servicing.
I would recommend that you make a
Then-
phone call to these guys, call Eric, schedule an appointment, sit down and have that discussion with Eric in the office. Yeah,
Right,
because
but
it's
you're-
very
You're
complex.
assuming, okay, let's roll it back even to the beginning. How's it gonna be funded? And you just explained how it's funded, but I'm saying that if we're reaching out to Duck Lake Township, should not the dumb people be willing to contribute to a special fund to help us?
Right, again,
fund our-
we're not reaching out to them, they have been our primary response area. So make an appointment, call Eric, and he'll sit down and he'll explain to you how the whole process works, because
We're
it's,
paying for everything.
no,
But they come here too.
no, yeah, no,
It's twice,
No, we have contracts in place
Yeah.
that deal with reimbursement, that.
Yeah, for the echo unit.
Set those costs. One last thing, I just wanted to say, this might be one of the last times I present to the board, maybe there'll be some times, but in the role, my interaction with the board may be limited, and I just wanna thank you for your support, and I've enjoyed working with you directly. And I'm sure I'll be up here for other directly EMS related things, but, I hope to see you in
Yeah,
the
'cause
office.
quit talking like that, it sounds like you're leaving or something.
I'm not.
31. Fire incoming was 6,932, outgoing was 53,748. Sewer incoming was 22,024, outgoing was 34,237. Tax was 697.07, cause this is for the month of June. So the only thing we really received was, the mobile home park tax. And then we dispersed everything at 4,243.61. And then water incoming was 100,196, and outgoing was 31,786. So we had a total of all funds of incoming 365,554, and outgoing of 261,477, so we had an excess of $104,076. And then I also have, I don't know if anybody printed this off, but this is what we're going to receive for revenue sharing for 2017-18, so I made copies if anybody wanted one. And I looked to see what their, cause it kept saying fiscal year, and I didn't know what their fiscal year is, cause it goes out the state, and it's October 1st to September 30th.
I emailed that to you guys, right?
Oh, did ya? I pulled this off or something, maybe it's here, no. Okay, so that was my treasurer's report.
So, I'm glad that you learned that in your treasurer's training.
Yeah, me too.
It makes perfect sense. And I'm glad you brought it to the board, I like that better.
And I will get it smoother. I mean, this was my first time to try to figure it all out.
And then perhaps we could all get a copy of that.
Right, and I still am gonna do the investment reports and stuff. It was just, they suggest, I mean, if I'm doing wrongdoings and you guys are approving it, if it ever got to a court situation, they're gonna go back to the minutes and say, well, you guys all sat there and proved everything she did, so why aren't you liable? So this way, nobody's approving it, I'm just giving the report.
I like it. Any other discussion on that?
Thank you.
Item F, maintenance coordinator resignation. Everybody read that?
Yep.
So after we find some, he says he'll stay around for 2 weeks to help ensure we have trained person.
That's recess, and I guess that's what I wanna talk to you about. Cause it would be my recommendation that today is 2 weeks since he wrote his letter. So my recommendation would be, that tomorrow, we let him know that Friday will be his last day, and we collect all the keys and township credit card tomorrow from him. I don't know that it's in the township's best interest to have him, and I quote, instruct him or her as to the operations of this position.
Okay.
So that's my recommendation to you guys.
I would make a motion to accept the maintenance coordinator's resignation effective Friday, August 12th? 11th. Yeah. That's my motion.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to accept the maintenance coordinator's letter of resignation and have his last day of employment be Friday, August 11th. All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
discuss what's going, do we have any of it now?
We ran an ad, I think we're up to
I think we got 7.
7 applicants so far.
Okay,
They have up until 6 o'clock tomorrow.
then I'll say yes. How's it go? Is it all in favor? I haven't said nothing yet, okay. I was gonna ask, you know, after the motion, discuss it.
Yeah, I forgot our discussion.
Got it, discussion, okay.
The maintenance coordinator, when Bill came in and said that he was resigning, I talked to Lynette, and evidently there was no job description. I was like, uh-oh, well, we need to run an ad, so I just put together this job description. And we posted it, but we did that little check that this job description has not yet been adopted by the Blair Township Board of Trustees. It was written by Nicole. So, if you guys have anything that you wanna add to it, delete from it, take from it if it's good. I'm obviously happy with that, I wrote it.
I like it, I do like it.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the maintenance coordinator job description.
Second,
It's been moved and supported to accept the maintenance coordinator job description. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Slick, you see, you read the ad down the road. It's-
Sure.
Yeah, that's what,
Maintenance coordinator interview committee. I'd like to see the interview committee set up tonight so we can, move on this. I personally would like to be on the interview committee, this person will be working closely with me, and I'd like to be involved.
But I'm going to be going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so if you're interviewing them, that would cause a problem.
Yeah, that's not gonna be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday probably. Perhaps Thursday or Friday.
I'm on.
Um,
I would, but Thursday or Friday of this week or next week?
next week. Friday you're open.
okay,
So
Well,
is
I
Tracy.
BSNA's here.
Yeah, I could do it if we did it Friday. I'll be in Ann Arbor on Thursday.
how many,
Is there anybody, Eric, from Fire EMS that you think, I mean, this person works
Yeah.
building wise, so it would be.
Jimmy's not here, so they will be Jimmy.
No, that's good. You decide, but so a representative from Fire EMS.
I make a motion to appoint an interview committee for the maintenance coordinator position consisting of the supervisor, the clerk, and the fire chief.
Are you
Or did
asking
you
me?
wanna be on it too, Tracy?
I'm good if I'm not, I mean, I'm not gonna be talking about it, okay.
So who did you? Nicole?
The clerk, the supervisor, and the fire chief.
how many do you need?
Well, funny
Usually
you
an odd
ask.
number's good.
An odd number's good.
Odd
We
number's
decided
good?
today we might have to
So you
lay
have
Russell
three?
over.
We don't want more than 3 board members because then we have a quorum
I'll
and have to
support
post
that.
it.
You supported that, Roger?
Yeah.
We have a motion that's been supported, it's been moved and supported to set up the interview committee for
board feels about granting refunds, when do we grant refunds?
We should probably explain why people have been asking for them, Tracy.
Well, yeah, one of the reasons was, because there's people in there that come in and set up camp first thing in the morning, even though it's rented out, and they don't wanna leave, so the people who have rented it, you know, there becomes an issue between that, and unless we have somebody out there policing it, you know, we have a sign hung up there. I suggested police state, or even body outline, keep people out of there. I just don't know what all we can do on Saturdays, Sundays, and that, I mean, I don't wanna spend every Saturday down here,
So is there a sign that says rented?
reserved for.
Reserved for today?
Mhm.
Okay. And people disregard that?
When I was in the treasurer's office, there was a sign out there also that said something to the effect that, you know, people pay money to reserve the pavilion, and if they have it reserved, the pavilion is for their use only. If it's not reserved, then it's pretty much first come, first served. Now, I don't think we ever had as much trouble as we've had this year. So I don't know if that would help, you know, some people are just gonna disregard that sign. I don't know. Is it rented for every weekend?
Pretty
For the
much
rest of
all
the summer.
summer, yeah. And
I
I
don't-
have 2 requests on my docket right now where they want a refund due to somebody else being in there.
So the other people would not leave?
Right.
They did, I came down. I got the call. I came down.
Second pavilion,
We have one.
unreserved.
We have that.
So, I would say, in a case like that, I wouldn't give them a refund.
No, we have one pavilion that people can reserve. We have a second pavilion that is just first come, first served. The second pavilion is way away from the
Correct.
splash pad and the playground. People don't wanna reserve.
Right, so
That
that's
one over
whoever first come,
It was
first served.
kind of a waste putting one over there. That's my opinion, but,
My opinion, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, no,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead, it's, go ahead, I'm sorry.
that, I was pretty much finished with that.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't
No,
mean to
you're
interrupt
good,
you.
you're good.
My opinion is, we don't rent out the pavilion. It's first come, first served. Case closed. Problem solved. Nope. You didn't rent it, because we don't rent it out anymore. It's first come, first served.
Right, because then there's some people setting up tents and stuff out there. And it says on our park rental agreement, no, on the pavilion rental agreement, no tents. Well, if they don't rent the pavilion and just set up a tent, there's nothing out there that says no tents, and they're not mind readers. I mean,
Is it not on our sign, the big yellow sign? I mean, not that they're gonna pay attention to that.
No overnight camping. Park closes at 10.
Haven't heard that before.
And then you've got, okay, we've set our budget for the year. If we don't, I mean, not that, it's definitely not a moneymaker. I don't even think it covers our cleaning person.
no, especially not as much time as we've been spending on it this year.
But all I'm saying is, if we're not collecting the rental fees, then that's more money that's gonna come out of the budget that we are not taking in.
Correct, but the park has a big enough budget for what do we make a year? $4,000 for the summer? opinions that I learned when I was campaigning from our residents is, why do I have to pay to rent that pavilion? I can't afford, it was $150 until this new board knocked that in half. I can't afford to have my 5-year-old's birthday party there for $150. It's still $75 for a resident. It's their park. Our residents shouldn't have to pay for it. And it's first come, first served, and then we don't have this issue. 3 weekends in a row I was here.
Eliminate.
I say it's January first.
And I have faith and confidence that our residents, when they know that pavilion is free, they don't have to pay for a rental,
So for
they'll be here at the crack of dawn doing this and putting their table out, and this is mine for the day I was here first.
Mhm.
So, that's my opinion.
But we have, since we've already got a rent to these people this year,
Correct.
we
Right,
still
that's
have
why I
to
say
take
come
through.
January first.
And we don't have anybody that's read it for next year,
No.
like those other people, they didn't come in the day after. and
No,
read it
and
for
she
next
said
year.
2 years. They were gonna do it
Do
again in
another
2
one in 2
years.
years.
I think I have it for February sixth.
Have fun,
That
Donna.
water park is premier, people would buy that up and they're not even from the area. That, it is premier, you guys outbid yourself. You know, if you wanna extend it freely to the community. have at it.
Cause I also get, well, you shouldn't rent it out to non-Blair Township residents. Well, it's a public park.
Right.
You can't just,
Say only.
Say,
our
right.
resident.
It's a, yes, Dan.
Are you a resident?
It's not gonna be a lot, but have we considered it's gonna be unrentable to have, like some parks have a donation box to say support your community park?
And that's what I've said, we need to have a water fund
Right.
set up out there.
I see issues with having money out there though. I mean, I like your
No.
idea of the sign
We put a
saying,
sign,
please
please donate. and
come to the
yes.
treasurer's office and make
or we
a
could even
donation.
put like envelopes out there.
This park is operated on
Yeah.
donations, anything is appreciated.
I mean, the state parks do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, the pavilion should be free for our people.
Our trails are all boxed.
Well, if it's free for our people, free for everybody.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it'd be free for everybody.
Well, I can do that park, in our people's park, so I speak for them. You stay in Kingsley. Use your own park.
We've got a splash pad in Kingsley. Go, go, go.
So what do we do about it?
I believe that the 3 weekends in a row, that the people that were inconvenienced, they did have it legitimately rented. The first weekend, this was about a month ago, there was another family that was in there and had set up camp. They were not the family that had it rented. So there was some verbal stuff. I got the phone call. The second weekend, it was the same thing. There was a family who was down the road who had it rented. There was another group of people who had their table covers out, the picnic set up on the tables. They were angry, they weren't gonna move. I got a phone call, because what happens is these people from the park come and knock on fire and EMS door,
Mhm.
because the township is closed. So these guys are dealing with it. If a toilet overflows, if somebody's set up camp and they're not supposed to be, these guys get it. So I came down, I went out there,
Well, that's why they're emergency
I
service.
said to the local family, I am sorry, this is reserved today, you'll have to move. They moved. And then the family reunion stuff, that was, could have been a huge cluster, ended up being really cool event, but that happened. Yeah, so.
Do we have our parking right?
That was my suggestion, was
Yeah.
give it to them.
I'd like controversy for them, which unfortunately, because not everybody was acting like an adult, but I came down and
I
went out
sent
there.
Jake, 'cause I-
Yeah, Tracy was out of town. So I think they deserve their money back. That's my opinion.
So we wanted to decide on the refunds, but we also wanted to decide if we're gonna, yeah,
After this summer.
Right.
yeah.
As of
So-
January
It's
1st,
two separate
2000.
issues.
Yeah.
So do we also need to decide who has the authority to grant refunds for the rest of the summer?
Well, I would say it's the Treasury Department, because they're the ones who set up the scheduling and take the reservations and. Adults, it's funny, it's not funny, but it's,
All right, I'm gonna make a motion. I will make a motion to give the treasurer and deputy treasurer the authority to grant refunds on pavilion rentals when they feel it's justified.
Support.
That's one motion.
I support that motion.
it's been moved and supported to give the treasurer and deputy treasurer the authority to grant refunds on pavilion rentals when they deem appropriate.
Well, I don't think I need a motion on, to say, yeah, refund those people, because now her and Jake have the authority.
There you go.
Is there any discussion on that motion?
Kuchera,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Zeit,
Yes, but I can see some issues with it.
Campbell,
Yes.
Bonchon,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Why didn't you speak up?
Right, if you see issues with that, that would have been your
What
perfect
issues?
time to, what do you see?
Well, okay, so you've got somebody comes in there and they rent it. You get your buddy from across town, why don't you get over there and set up and then I can get my money back?
Only,
How do you know who's who?
Well, and
Okay,
that's
if
the
they know.
thing, you know, but if we're
I
gonna,
know it's far-fetched, but Nicole, it can happen.
It can
I
happen, but
know.
you know what, I would like to say that I have enough faith and confidence in our township residents to, and if it happens, it happens. Again, another reason why I don't think we should be charging residents to rent the building.
Summer's almost over.
Right.
Don't say that.
Sorry.
all right, I'll make another motion.
Whoa, wait a minute, just gonna do a roll call.
Oh, I thought she was done with the roll call. You're done?
Yeah, I've done,
Okay.
I didn't know you were doing two motions.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
A motion to, not charge pavilion rental fee effective January 1st, 2018.
I'll second that.
Well, triple.
Effective January?
January 1st, 2018.
This is not rent in February, huh?
Only Dennis.
It's been moved and supported effective January 1st, 2018, to no longer charge pavilion rental fees. Roll call when you're ready.
Bonchon,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Zeit.
Yes.
Yes.
Item J, Tracy.
Splash pad, you know,
Brian.
this gets me right up there with the sink running hot water in the kitchen for a half hour to get warm.
little warm for me.
I'll
Oh.
second that.
But for other people, 78 is cold.
But if I'm 6 and it's 50 degrees,
Yeah.
when I was 45 and it was 50 degrees, I'd still run through that splash pad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's cold to you? So temperature, how can, we open up the park in May? The splash pad turns on the middle of May and I don't know, that's.
I can see it, but then again, I look at part of this and I think, okay, so you got a Saturday morning, it's pouring rain and all this, so who throws the switch and turn it off? And then at noon and,
A busload of kids shows up and it's
but
nice.
yeah, but it's, you know, it clears up, the sun's out and it's 75 degrees.
Yeah.
Who throws the switch back so the water's running and,
Would a rain sensor be appropriate, if you have a sprinkler system that helps?
But again, if a school or a daycare has their scheduled outing and the pavilion is out there, as long as it's not lightning, they don't cancel outside activities. And when you're 6, or again, when you're,
Yeah,
you know,
I do my swim.
I
May
know.
3rd, May 15th is when I start my swimming.
I know the
I don't know
pressure,
what temperature it is.
the pressure was turned down on the splash pad, which I've not heard one complaint from any children or an adult, so I don't even think they realize it. Which has saved us some water. The pressure was turned up higher, so they were getting more of a bucket full and a bigger spray. That's been turned down, as a way to try to conserve.
Sure.
I think once we get rocking and rolling with township, with engineering stuff, and we really seriously look at putting in the tank, where we can at least have the water from the splash pad go into a holding tank that we can then utilize for the irrigation, will be well, we know will be a huge saving. That'll be 1 million gallons of water a month savings. So, versus the on-off valve. He said if it's raining right now and, yeah. And to put a sensor in that's rain sensitive like the irrigation system, I'd rather spend that money on designing a holding tank where we can irrigate with it.
So, I would like to make a motion not to turn off, the splash pad on rainy days.
Well, we don't even need a motion for that because we don't do
Just
it
when we
now.
don't, right? Okay,
Yeah.
good, let's just forget about that, and I'll scratch it off.
I have some here.
Item K, waive penalties on the estimated water bills. We have our second month in a row where the water bills had to be estimated due to the computer system for the census that it died. The first month, see, this gets hard for me because we're in August, June. So June bills were estimated. Really, the only way to estimate those is to go off last year's billing, June monthly billing for the residents, which is what Lisa did. However, last year, June was a lot drier.
We had a lot of rain.
So the bills for June statistically appeared like they were maybe estimated a little bit high. We were hoping to have the equipment, the computer program back for this month, but that didn't happen either. So she had to estimate bills again. Which, now they'll probably be low, but for some people that's huge and, there was a whole lot of phone calls, even when we said, we're sorry, computer system died. And other than having the water operators go out and do manual reads on 1,100 houses, did the best that we could. So,
I'll make a motion to waive the penalties on estimated water bills.
Support.
it's been moved and supported to waive the penalties on the estimated water bills for both June and July.
Yes.
Sledgeheim,
Yes.
Zeiss,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Kuchar.
Yes.
Item I, planning commission appointment for the term expiring 11/30/17.
It's item now.
Oh, item L, what did I say, I?
Aye.
I would like to ask the board tonight that we just table this. We did have, two applicants. And truth be told, I have meant to have a meeting with the chair of the planning commission, Jerry Heim, and I just haven't made that happen yet, so I would like to have a conversation with the chairman of that board before we make this decision.
Motion to table planning commission appointment.
You don't wanna table it, you want to postpone it.
Yes, postpone it.
Okay. Did somebody support that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. It's been moved and supported to postpone the appointment of planning commission member and readdress it next month.
To postpone it until next month.
Still support that?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item M, cash refund of pavilion rental deposits.
Okay, I wanna make one thing clear right up front because of things that have happened in the past. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here. It's just a situation has come up. I'm uncomfortable with it, so I brought it to the board. Somebody had rented the pavilion. And they paid in cash. And, like, the next Tuesday, they came in and wanted their rental deposit back. And he said, well, I paid in cash, you know. The treasurer's office told him, well, you know, the clerk writes a check and, well, I paid in cash, why can't I get my cash back? So they gave him $25 cash out of their change drawer that they have in their office. Well, then they wrote up a check request to have me, they wanted me to write a check out of the TNA account, which is where we put that deposit money, to reimburse the change drawer. Well, for one thing, you really, and I did get an opinion from MTA about giving cash refunds, and I was told townships are not banks or stores and are not required to provide cash refunds. In fact, you must use a check so that you have an accounting trail that is required by the state for all money. So, I guess what I'm asking the board, because it's already done, the cash has been given out. I guess I'm asking you to approve me writing the check to refund the change drawer, but also would like some sort of policy, well, we're not gonna have to worry about it anymore after the summer. But I do want it understood that for the rest of the rental deposits, checks will be written, cash refunds will not be given.
Yes, just like if you go to a store and buy some cash, like I went to Ace Hardware and paid cash for it, but I return it, I don't get my cash back. I have to wait in the,
Did you get a store
The-
credit?
no, they either give me credit, or if I want a check, the front street will write out a check, but you're right, but no cash. I mean, it's the same thing, that, all business won't get cash back, no.
So what you're asking for tonight is
Just
the
that.
board members to say yes, so that go ahead and write the check.
I like,
Write the check from the
Write
TNA
the check
account to
from TNA.
reimburse.
yeah, could we need a motion on that, or just?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to pay back, to write a check out to pay back that cash drawer, the refund of the $25 cash for the pavilion, yes. That's what you want, right?
Yep.
Support.
It's been moved supported to authorize the clerk to write a check out of the TNA account, the amount of $25 to refund the cash drawer in the treasurer's office for the refund for the rental of the pavilion.
Deb, who supported that?
Yes.
Roll call when you're ready, James.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Sunshine,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Yes.
Kucherov, Dyke.
Yes.
And then I would also like a motion saying that all future refunds will be by check, not
Oh, yes.
cash.
Support.
Okay.
Did you get your motion?
Yes, I made that motion.
It's been
All
moved and
future
supported
refunds,
with going forward that all refunds will be done by check
According to state law.
according to state law. Roll call when you're ready, James.
Kucherov,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Sunshine,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
and Dyke.
Yes.
And who supported that?
Yes.
Dennis did, okay.
Extended public input.
Yes.
You got nothing now?
You're, evening, folks. Thanks for letting me speak right now.
Could you state your name and
I
address?
absolutely will. My name is Sean Kulinoff. I'm a resident of Blair for 47 years total. I've lived here as an adult since 1988. You guys talk about this area here. I used to ride my little Stingray across here when there was nothing, play baseball. So when y'all talk about, I mean, it's great that we're working it out, but I remember when none of this was here. So thank you for doing it. It took a long time to get it here, but, so, I guess what I'm saying, where I'm going with that is, this township needs a lot that we love here. So I'll get right to what I'm gonna ask you. Has anybody looked at the, plan that the Michigan, Medical Cannabis Facilities Act through the state of Michigan, that's coming up in 2018? And the other question would be, are we entertaining that as a cash generating source? I knew that look was coming.
I can answer that for myself.
Okay.
I have attended as many classes
Mhm.
that I've been able to in regards to the December 15th, 2017 Licensing
Absolutely.
Act through the state of Michigan,
Yeah, yeah.
also known as LAR, which is not set up and ready to go yet, for the
Correct.
record. But
I
I
know
have
that.
gone to as many,
I'm on it, yeah.
as many classes, trying to do my due diligence as a representative of this township,
Thank you.
in understanding the 5 different licensings that they're doing.
Absolutely. yeah.
And, I know several other board members have attended some. We actually just did a webinar a couple weeks ago
Okay.
in-house. And decision has not been made yet at a board meeting. We've had a couple other people who want to open up, dispensaries,
Mhm. Mhm.
come and do a, presentation. This board, I believe, we're open to public input. We're open even to putting you on the agenda if you wanna come in and do an educational to
Absolutely.
us. We are definitely open to that.
Yeah.
We do know we still have several more months where we make the decision yes or no.
Right.
If we do not want to allow them to happen, the big dispensaries, we just kind of do nothing. If we are going to
We have
adopt,
to opt in.
we have to opt in
Correct.
through the state of Michigan, and we're aware of that. And again, any information that comes through, we're constantly sharing it. MTA has really done a great job with training, conferences.
Good. The education.
MTA doesn't take a stance for or against.
Right.
It's only them pushing to educate the board members. Tracy and I attended a planning commission meeting
Very nice.
situation, again, just to further educate ourselves and to also listen to the Kingsley constituents,
Absolutely.
pros and cons. So I believe with this board right now, due diligence is underway,
Okay.
trying to educate ourselves. And again, we're welcome to have you call me and say, hey, can I come in and do a presentation? You know, and that would give you 15 minutes if you wanted to do whatever you wanted to do.
Okay, I appreciate that.
That's my answer.
Sean,
Yes.
could you spell your last name for us?
KOON dash NOLFF.
Okay,
Frank.
thank you.
Like I said, this township means a lot to me. I grew up here. I played baseball in this little field before there was nothing here. I remember when those houses weren't here. So I watched it grow and grow. You know, I grew up 3 miles down the road here. I've watched you guys do a lot of amazing things here, so I appreciate that. I know at this level it can be a difficult task to do. I'm asking to bring medicine. I'm not asking to bring, well, what they categorize as drugs. It's medicine for me, and that's what it is for people. 69% of Michigan's residents voted this into law. And so that, you know, everybody, the other percentage, said accepted. Now, if I could just say that I've watched it change people's lives because they were able to get off of opiates and get on medical cannabis, and their lives changed. So I'm all about saving our young people. I'm tired of watching our young people OD. I'm tired of talking to other EMS people that are picking up kids every weekend from doing opiates. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sean, I have a question for you. What level of the 5 licensees in the state of Michigan are you looking at? Are you looking at a dispensary, a grow up,
All of them.
transport, all of them,
Yeah.
under one roof?
No, because you can't have all of them.
You can't have them,
Right.
right, you can't have your
I'm up on-
testing facility.
Yeah. I'm up on it. Good question, though. That was a good catch, wasn't it? But no, we know we can't have them all under one roof. But the businesses, this is, in 2018, this is gonna be a $200 billion industry in the state of Michigan. You know, the old thing, you know, now you're just growing weed to get stoned, that's over. You know, it's now medicine for people. So I'll leave with that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, by the way?
Thanks for staying for the whole meeting.
Oh, yeah, I like these meetings. I want watching you guys struggle through all this. I mean, you did a great job, so, thank you.
I just wanna add, transporting and testing, possibly not.
Oh,
It's mostly, my name is Susan Knopf. I am his wife.
did you call me?
She is
I did.
my
Okay,
wife.
good. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public input? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Thank you for a great meeting.